the brainless scarecrow. He's not very smart, but they've told him how he has to fight, and they just tell him he's pretty good with the crowd. They tell him to stab somebody, he does it. So the battle's about to begin, but the king has no idea who to bring for their next opponent. So, in comes Little Red Riding Hood. Now, nobody wanted to put this little girl in the ring, so she says, I'll go find an opponent. She goes off in the woods, and she comes back with the king of the jungle, the lion. But of course, little does she know, this lion doesn't really like to fight. So they're about ready to start the battle. They're going to start it here. The scarecrow's heading towards the lion, and the lion runs. There goes the lion, all the way in circles around the gladiator battle. So that's all they end up doing is running. And Little Red Riding Hood's watching this all excited. She's right by the fence. Here comes the big bad wolf. He decides, I'm going to get revenge on Little Red Riding Hood for getting me locked in jail. So he goes over, he's going to set her robe on fire. Of course, he's not very bright. He misses. The entire ring gets set on fire. And the scarecrow's, of course, running around now. He's on fire. So he burns up and he dies. And the lion, who's really very scared now, is running around. The giant takes pity on him. He grabs the lion, runs off to the forest, and sets him free. But the lion's so scared of the lion, all he does is run away again. So the giant's really confused. He has no idea where to find the rest of his eggs. He doesn't know how to gather up Red Riding Hood and everybody. But then he sees something really strange in the forest. There's a pair of tin legs. Just kind of randomly walking around. So he decides he's going to pick up these tin legs. And then he hears a scream. A very earth-shattering scream. The Tin Man's a little squeaky today. So he goes to see what's going on. There's the Tin Man. He can't really walk very good. He's trying to crawl away, and the 3 pigs are after him. They want to use his head as a chimney. So they're going after him. And the giant again takes pity on another poor soul. He hands tin legs, no pigs. So they run off with their tin legs and decide they can use this for the chimney. And the giant feels bad because obviously the Tin Man has no legs anymore. He decides to take them with him on his journey. Which turns out to be a good thing, because as the giant's walking along, the Tin Man notices a sign that's pointing to the wizard. So they go to see the wizard. And the wizard has just gotten married to the good witch Glinda. So they see them and they decide to make a deal. The wizard will give the giant back the eggs in the safe and will send him back home in exchange for the capture of the Wicked Witch of the West. So that's what he has to do, and the giant decides to go on this journey because he needs to get back home and save those kids from the albatross. So they're on their journey, and lo and behold, they get captured by trees. The moving trees. They decide to entwine them and put them in a cage. But about this time, it's getting late at night. So here comes Robin Hood and his merry men. They just got back from the bar. They're quite a little tippy. And they decide they want to have a bonfire. So they set this weird contraption like thing on fire. And the giant, who had taken a nap by now, didn't really want to deal with the trees, wakes up pretty fearful. and he just jumps right out of the cage. But when he jumps out, he kind of lands on him. Well, he doesn't really notice anything. He just thinks he landed on some dirt or something. So he continues along on his journey without Robin Hood. The witch has realized now that her plan to capture him in the trees has failed. So she sends out the flying monkeys. And the flying monkey takes one look at the giant, goes, oh no, I can't pick that up. So he grabs the Tin Man instead. As the giant's trying to save the Tin Man, poor little Pinocchio comes along. And he's got a cookie. This cookie, he can't eat it. He's crying and crying. And the giant who's chasing his friend just has to stop and ask, why are you crying? Well, little Pinocchio, who's still crying, goes, I'm not a real boy. I can't eat a cookie. So the giant says, well, let's go to the wizard. Maybe he can remedy your solution. And they're going along their way, and the giant goes, oh wait, I gotta go save the Tin Man and catch the witch first. He's very forgetful. So Pinocchio sees the flying monkey with the Tin Man and goes, I can get them. So he puts down his cookie, which then gets up and runs away. So he gets some string from his cords, and he wraps up the winged monkey. The winged monkey falls to the ground. They leave him there. And then he saves the Tin Man, who goes back to the giant. And they continue on their journey. But poor little Pinocchio can't remember where he put his cookie. So they continue on, and they find the Wicked Witch of the West. By now, she's exhausted most of her magic, and she has no idea what to do. So all they have to do is knock her to the ground. Not that hard for the giant, of course. I mean, she's about as big as one of his toadstools right there. So they tie up the Wicked Witch of the West, and they take her back to the wizard. They take her back to the wizard. They take her back to the wizard, of course, like I said. And he's sitting there, and he seems to be eating what appears to be a gingerbread cookie. Nobody knows how he's eating the gingerbread cookie, but Pinocchio decides it's a good time to take a nap. The Wicked Witch of the West is captured by the wizard, and then Glinda comes running in with the gingerbread man. She's screaming, ah! And the gingerbread man's crying, goes, you eat my parents! And then Glinda starts to recount what she saw when she opened that door. She said, oh, I could see her gingerbread parts laying everywhere. So she's getting really mad, and then the Wicked Witch of the West goes, finally, somebody else knows. I saw it happen. I've been trying to get the villagers away from the wizard, and they claimed I was evil. So, actually, the wizard was evil. And they saved the Wicked Witch of the West. They tied up the wizard, and they threw him in jail. They threw him in the Munchkin jail with the puppets just to annoy him. So these two are so happy. Yeah, the village is free. They used their combined magic to send the giant back. And of course, they give the Tin Man back his legs. So they send him back, give him back all his eggs. He's back home with his safe right where he was. Unfortunately, he can't find the children anywhere. He's looking around. He can't find them. But he sees an albatross. And the albatross is sitting in his nest, and for some odd reason, it's got a red high-heeled shoe hanging out of its beak. So the giant is really confused. So he starts reaching around the albatross, and he notices there's a big egg by the albatross. Quite a few, actually. And he picks them up, and they're all labeled Giant's Tail. So he himself became one of his own fairy tales. The end.